just let me know if Nancy, everybody is in. Can we start? Okay. All right. We are going to today, let me just want to, if it's okay, I'm going to share my screen for this presentation. All right, let's do it. Hi, everyone. I just want to welcome you all to this presentation, and I hope that you will get a lot of information from this workshop and try to use it toward your planning on transfer to four-year universities. Again, today, as I mentioned, that this presentation will be recorded, and as soon as we start, it's going to, whatever you have, it will be also part of this presentation. And if I appreciate if you hold your questions to the end of the presentation, so I can go through all of the slides, and after that, I will be here to answer any questions you have. All right, let me start my presentation with going through the slide. All right. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm hoping that you're here in this presentation because you're all planning to transfer. And I want to go through this and make sure I'm giving you information about the options that where you can transfer to, how you make the transfer plan happen, and what are the minimum admission requirements, what are the selection criteria, what is Impaction and how is impacting on your decision and selection of the universities, what are the opportunities that you can use to enhance your admission to four-year universities, and what are the challenges that these all universities throw at you and how you can face them and work around them. And part of it is also part of that planning is to know the cost of attendance and how to plan for that. What are your options? And all of you, you can transfer to University of California, California State Universities, private universities, or any universities out of California. I have students even transferring to out of country, but these are your options that you can do that, and you can hear more and more about CSU and UC because California community colleges have that articulation agreement with them, and this system-wide we have more lined up and streamlining your transfer to this institution versus private and out of state. Some of the private universities also doing that, but it's not as common as CSU and UC. But can you transfer to any university you want to? Yes. You just need to have that planning. And I'll keep on talking about planning. What is important about this planning? It is the very first point that you need to think about your planning is selecting a major and selecting the universities that you want to, or you think about transferring to those universities. Make a list of those universities. It's crucial to know where you want to go. And why is it important? Because if you need to know your major and the universities to plan toward those. If you don't know what your major is, then you're just taking courses randomly and you're not becoming focused. You need to know what courses you need to take, and you need to know what university you're planning to transfer to so you can so you know what courses they require, then taking the courses accordingly. And as you plan for your courses, as you plan your academic, you need to also plan for your funding your education and your finances. Because if you know what university you want to go to, you know how much it costs, what they offer you, and then you can plan accordingly and don't be surprised at the end. We're going to talk about this a little bit more at the end. About this, knowing all of this, it helps you to strategize and selecting the universities and moving forward with those selection and preparing yourself for those universities. And in between, if there are any opportunities come along from community colleges, from Kenyatta College, or from four-year university, take advantage of those to enhance your admission to universities. And this is basically the plan. And you can find this slide on our Transfer Center website, and shows you the steps that you can take from selecting a major to selecting university, making plans and academic, and move forward, and what you can do at the end when you transfer it in and start the process all over again. This slide is on our Transfer Center under resources, and you can go through that and to find the information more in details. But again, it's the first two steps are very crucial. And then to come up the third one, completing educational plan. And basically, your plan, it would be important to declare your major, identify the courses and universities, make educational plan, and then moving forward with other factors to build up your admission to university. I'm sure that for now, you're continuing students, you're on track too, and I'm hoping that you already have a major. Show me a hand that if you do have your major already, know what your major you're going to transfer with. Do you know your major? Show me a hand. Good. That's a good thing that you know that your major. Then it is important to select universities. How to select universities, make sure that you do take a look at these factors. One is accreditation. This is important because at the end, when you want to find a job or going to your career, many of the employers may take a look at to see where you got your degree, and to make sure that you're coming from an accredited institution, meaning that that institution met the standards that they put for themselves and is approved by education department and by their peers, and it is something that high standards, and rather than not accredited. That's something that you can find at the very first page of their website on their homepage, and if you search under their website, you can find that information as well. Then definitely you want to make sure that that university that you're interested in offering the major that you want to get into, looking to see because each program at each university could be different. The course requirements, the unit requirements might be different. You may want to take a look into how long it takes for you to complete the program after you transfer. Is it 2 years? Is 3 years? How much it is? And then you're making the evaluation on your own, how long you want to stay in that university. The location of it, do you want to stay here in the locally, stay home and go to university? Do you want to be online? Or do you want to go Southern California, Northern California, or even out of state? Where do you want to do? What do you want to do? This is your choice. And then take a look at it. Cost of that university. If you want to go out of state, how much it costs you, because you will be considered non-resident student. And do you want to, how much of it you can afford? Those are the evaluation you need to make. Services. You need to see what you need from that university. If you need childcare, if you need tutoring, if you need computer lab to do your homeworks, what is it that you need that whether or not they offer it? Culture and environment of the campuses are completely different. When you're saying UC Berkeley, UC Davis, UC Santa Cruz, all of them have different culture and environment. Take a look at their campuses to see which one you feel comfortable, because within the next 2 years, you will be there. For financial aid and scholarship, even though they do offer financial aid, every campus has different offering. You need to take a look at that. Some of them, they offer more scholarship than the other. Those are the things that you need to consider. Do they give you offer of internship while you're going to school? Are they training you hands-on to get to the job that you want to get in or the career you want to get in? Also, the career opportunities. Those are the data that you can find on their website. How soon students can get a job right after graduation. Those are the things, some of the main factors that you may want to take a look of how you select your school. For any university, the basic bare minimum requirements are math, English, and some of them oral communication. They're also looking at your GPA, grade point average, and the number of units you completed. This is basic and universal for any universities. They have more or less but this is basic. You always need to do your best and you will be getting there. For University of California, oh, did I miss? For University of California, there are, let me see, let me go back, I think, sorry. For University of California, you do have, there are 9 campuses, and they're public institutions. Many students think about UCs as a private institutions. They're not. The difference between CSU and UC is more, the UC are more research institute compared to CSU campuses. But they are public institutions. They have agreements with community colleges, including Kenyatta. And to transfer as a junior status, because you get high priority of admission, you need to have 60 UC transferable. And among them, the major minimum admission requirements to UC is 7-course pattern, which includes 2 English courses, 1 is critical thinking, and your math course. And 4 more courses from other 3 areas of general education: arts and humanities, social behavioral sciences, and sciences. And instead of 7-course pattern, you can also, in place of that, you can also do IGETC, which is general education requirements for UC. Minimum admission GPA requirement is 2.4 for all students, and non-resident student is 2.8. But you know that to be selective, be competitive, you need to have higher GPA, and we're going to talk about that. Do you need to have, again, IGETC is not a requirement. You can go with a 7-course pattern. And major preparation, I cannot emphasize enough. For them, it is crucial for you to focusing on your major preparation. Let me see. The next one is California State Universities. They have 23 campuses all around in California, and their requirement is 60 units to admitting students as a junior status. But some of the units that they are transferable to CSU are not transferable to UC. Like, for example, Math 130. It is not transferable to UC, but applies to CSU. Then the 60 units that you're talking about transferring to CSU to UC could be a little bit different. Depends on the courses you're taking. But the minimum admission requirements for CSU, again, 30 units of general education, which includes the 4 courses, they call it Golden 4: English, math, oral communication, and critical thinking, and major preparation. Major preparation is important. And the minimum GPA is 2.0, and that's not reality. The students needs to have higher GPA. For private and out-of-state universities, you don't have to have 60 units to transfer. With 24 or 30 units, you will be considered transfer student. But keep that in mind. You still need to have that 120 units to complete and get your bachelor degree. By transferring with 30 units, you will be paying more money for the same courses you will be taking here at community college. And the GPA requirements for each university is different. It's not universal like CSU or UC, because they are working independently. It's not like CSU and UC that they're working under umbrella of a system. And for transferring with CSU and UC, you don't need to get a recommendation letter. And if you're transferring as a junior status, you don't need to have SAT or ACT test. But for private institution, even though you do have 60 units, some of them, they require SAT or ACT test. Keep that in mind. And they do require, some of them, they require recommendation letter. How do you prepare for your major? How do you know what courses to take? I'm hoping that you are familiar with assist.org. This is an online tool that is available. You can take advantage of it and take a look at that to see that's showing all the articulation agreements between community colleges and CSU and UCs. And that could be course to course, whether or not, for example, if you want to know biology 230 applies or equate to any course at UC Santa Cruz, then you can use that. Or you can see major to major, what courses that you need to take at Kenyatta to fulfill all the major requirements at a CSU or UC. UC Pathway Guide is another avenue to look at it. The UC system came along and all faculty came together to find a cluster of courses for their majors to see what courses can be unified and be same course requirements to meet the requirements for a major. For example, anthropology, all 9 campuses require 3 courses for students to complete to meet the admission requirements for that program. Then the students are not struggling to see, going through a stage to search what courses I need to take to complete this program for UC Berkeley and one for UC Santa Cruz. The Pathway Guide is listing all courses because they agreed those are minimum requirements for the program. Unfortunately, it's not all majors. It's only 22 right now that they are working on that. But definitely, especially for use, you can use their university catalog and their website, especially for private and out-of-state universities, because they are not in assist.org, but they do establish some articulation agreement page under their website that you can, they made it similar to assist to see what courses can be equating to courses to our courses. And if you go to Kenyatta College Transfer Center website, on the right side panel, I have a list that said articulation, and I create a link to those articulation pages for some of the private and out-of-state universities that they are most of our students transferring to, and some of them are out there. But again, it is, if it's not there, you can go to their actual website and search for articulation agreement, and you can find them. And I just want to give you some information about this prerequisite at universities. And it's just more as a terminology for you to know. You're all familiar with prerequisite at Kenyatta. You have to have a course to build up your skills to go the next level of that class. For example, you have to have Math 120 to go to Math 200. That's a prerequisite in a community college. You take the basic courses to get higher level. For universities, when you're talking to them, they may also referring the prerequisite courses. They're talking about lower division courses you're completing here at Kenyatta to move forward to their major. When you're talking about the major to major preparation, they're referring to prerequisite to the program. That's what's the difference when you're seeing they're talking to you about prerequisites. Is not the prerequisites like the way that we're talking about. They're talking about the entire major preparation as a prerequisite to upper division classes. Core courses are the courses that you must complete. You have no choice. You have to complete it to complete your degree. Selective courses are also required to complete, but they're giving you a list of courses that you can choose from. Then you can choose whatever your interests are. We talked about general education. These CSU and UCs, they have agreements with community colleges where you can complete CSU general education breadth for meeting for general CSU campuses. And that's an agreement. If you complete CSU or IGETC general education requirements at a community college, they take it as it is, as completing the lower division general education requirements. And we can certify it before you transfer it out, that you completed all. If you don't complete it all and you have only 2 courses pending, then you can get partial certification, which they still honor it, and they're giving you all the courses completed except those 2 courses that you can, again, take it at 4-year university or come back to a community college completed and transfer that. Again, I'm saying that completing general education is not minimum admission requirements. It's not a requirement. But if you do, it's to your benefit because you will be completing the lower division general education courses with less cost. And then when you get there, you're just going to focus on the upper division general education courses. And I should say that all majors are not, I'm not encouraging students with science, especially science major, to even consider completing all the general education, because you're taking a lot of units in your major that is going to take your time to focusing on your major. The other thing that you need to know about general education, because I see that many students are focusing on one thing, let me finish my general education, and then let me go complete my major preparation. Combine these two. They're not two different set of courses. Many of these courses are overlapping. If you're science major, you will be taking a lot of biology courses, chemistry courses, physics courses. Then if your major is biology, you have all these courses. There is no need for you to also take astronomy for science. You already have these two courses for your major that also applies to your general education. Or if you're social sciences, you're taking a lot of sociology, psychology courses or history courses. You don't need to go also take a course within social sciences that is not part of your major. My point is that they are overlapping. Don't think about these courses as two different sets of courses. Combine them. Work with a counselor to see what courses you can take to overlap. For private and out-of-state universities, they have their own pattern, and unfortunately, we don't have a solid pattern the same way with CSU and UC, but I can say that many of private institutions, they are accepting I get C for UC. And I get C for UC and CSU are different. For CSU, you need to have a communication course. For UC, you don't. But you need to have a language other than English. Those are the difference between I get C for CSU or UC. And many of private institutions are accepting I get C. For out-of-state university, we're going to talk about it later on. They have their own pattern, but if they're accepting our ADT, ADT includes I get C or CSU GE Prep. They're accepting it that way. And this is what we were talking about, I get C versus major preparation. Don't take it as two different sets. They can be combined. And we were talking about impaction. What does it mean? And most of the campuses that you hear that they are impacted, they are California State University, CSU campuses. And they are more applicants for available seats on the campus. They can be impacted campus-wide, meaning there are not enough space for instructional resources or physical support to accommodate all of the students. But major impaction means the campus is open, you can get into university, but you're not able to get into the major of your choice because you are not, the program is impacted. There are so many students applying to that specific major. Sometimes both campus and majors are impacted, like San Jose State. San Francisco State is not impacted campus, but some of the majors are impacted, like nursing, like kinesiology, social work. Those are impacted majors. But they may accept you because you meet the minimum admission requirements, but not to the program. The California State Universities are coming in with the idea of creating local areas for students to manage their enrollment. Meaning that if you, and each campus, they're defining their own enrollment, their own local area by individually. Some of them, they're saying that if you're coming in graduate from high school in our local area, we give you priority. Some of them say that no, you need to have the majority of community college courses within the college nearby. Those are some of, and again, that's the criteria they set it up to manage their enrollment. It doesn't mean that you cannot transfer to those institutions. For example, Long Beach, we still send a lot of students to Long Beach, Fullerton. It doesn't mean you cannot, since you're not from the local area, you cannot apply. Yes, you can, but you have to work harder and have higher GPA to get in there. It's the same thing for San Francisco State. We are considered their local area, but the students coming from Southern California, they need to have higher GPA. They actually they have to have at least 3.75 to get in there. But for you, having minimum GPA of 2.0, you get priority admission. And that is the way that they're managing their enrollment for impaction and controlling the impaction. For UC, they don't call it impaction, they call it selective, meaning that, but they are not they're not using local area. They are using higher standards for admission, meaning that you need to have higher GPA for specific program. And sometimes and faculty driven by this, not the admission, faculty saying that we have a lot of students applying to engineering program. Then we want the students to come to engineering program have higher GPA than 2.4, and even within the major, they need to have GPA of 2.5 or 2.0 for all math courses. They're also putting more restriction on the GPA of the courses and overall GPA. And sometimes they do offer, they are, again, putting requirements for major and general education. Sorry. How to become competitive candidates, considering all of these challenges they put in front of you. Do your best, have higher GPA. Complete all the prepared major requirements. That is, I cannot emphasize enough, because I have seen students who are missing a course, especially with UC, they are not get accepted. It depends on the program. Please plan with all of the courses within your, with counselors, and make sure that you're meeting the requirements. Do they need to be completed at the time of application? No, but you need to complete it by the end of spring for fall admission, or by the end of summer for spring admission. But you always need to make sure that you do have the requirements before, by the end of presenting all those requirements on your application. The minimum admission requirements must be met, and focus on those to complete them early on, because some of the agreements or some of the criteria they put on for students is to make sure students completing, especially for 2 English courses and transferable math course, early on. If you have it, because that's the minimum admission requirements, they want to see your grades on those applications. Then if it's in progress, it's harder for them to make the decision. Complete them early on. And that sometimes is part of their restriction and selective criteria, to have those courses completed before even applying. Those 4 courses or those 3 courses, 2 English course, communication, and math, they need to be completed as soon as possible. The advantage that you can take the opportunities to enhance your application is associate degree for transfer. We offer 27 programs under associate degree for transfer. And if you have that, you get priority admission to CSUs. And other universities will take advantage, or you can use it to your benefit for other schools as well. You all knew and you all know about UC Tag. That's another avenue to enhance your admission and secure your admission to a UC campus. Other private and other state universities also have offering some agreements, and they do also have some using the ADTs, Associate Degree for Transfer, in their admission criteria. Honors program here at Kenyatta, we have it, we offer it. That's another avenue that you can enhance your admission to universities. The transfer agreement, the associate degree for transfer, again, is originally built up for CSUs, and but now and more is used for UCs and all universities taking advantage of that because they see that students completing a set of general education uh, courses as well as being prepared for the major. They know students are fully prepared by completing ADTs. So UC added the questions to even to the application and use it as comprehensive review. If you have it, it helps you. For other state universities, many of them giving students opportunity to give them the priority and give them even scholarships to transfer. Even for private universities, Menlo College, for example, last year they give students $26,000 if they had an associate degree for transfer in psychology or business program. And take advantage of that. If you can, take advantage of it. And it's basically you're completing 60 transferable units, which includes major, general education, and electives if it's not made the 60 units. And this information also are available on Transfer Center website and in our catalog as well. What are the benefits you get from ADTs, Associate Degree for Transfer? One, they're giving you GPA bump. Two is that some CSU campuses are closed for spring admission. But if you have ADT, they open the door and you can apply for spring semester, meaning that you can transfer mid-year. Sometimes they do also, if you met the minimum admission requirements, but for impaction reason, you're not getting into any CSUs, they can redirect your application to another campus that is not, I'm sorry, that is not impacted. And then you can decide to whether accept their offer or wait for another year and transfer at later time. That's up to you. But again, that's an opportunity for you to enhance your admission and your transfer status. Sometimes when you go to assist.org, you don't see the courses listed there. But if those courses are not there, you can use your ADT associate degree for transfer. Then you can use that toward your transfer admission, and they take all the courses as it is, and you completed the requirements and take it in. You're all familiar with UC TAG, and you can apply to all 9 campuses, but only 6 campuses of UC offer TAG transfer admission agreements or TAG. But you can apply to one campus for TAG. You cannot tag to all campuses, only one. But you can widely apply to all UCs, including the 9 campuses. But it doesn't mean that if you are not yet into any in this UC campus with the TAG, it doesn't mean that you cannot get into it at all. It means that TAG has higher standard. If you don't meet that criteria, you may still be qualified for regular admission in November. But if you're accepted and you don't want to go to that campus, do you need to be there? No, it's not there. If you still do tag to, for example, to UC Davis, but you end up by going to Berkeley, that's okay. That's okay to choose Berkeley over Davis. But tag is giving you the safety that you can be on a campus if you don't get anywhere else. And basically at the time of tag, you need to have 30 transferable units and meet the eligibility and the criteria that they set for the program. And you need to apply now. The application is open right now. If you want to apply, which I should say, if you want to apply for fall 2021, you need to put your tag now in September. But the application is open for it to complete. For other state, again, we do have articulation agreements under our transfer center page, but these are the universities, historically Black colleges and universities have agreements with all community colleges in California, and there are 35 of them have these agreements with us saying that if you have ADT or any associate degree, they give priority admission. And they have, each one of them individually have different criteria, but minimum GPA they require is 2.5. And these informations are available on our Transfer Center website. And you can go through each one to see which one offers scholarships, which one offers the criteria is more than 2.5 or less than 2.5, and what are the criteria, because they vary. And Western Governor University is also accepting our ADTs, and they're online. They offer programs online. If you're interested in online program, that's another avenue to go. These are some timelines that you need to pay attention to. You are getting into go through all of this process. You're preparing yourself, but I have seen students just by simply not submitting their transcript on time, their application was rescinded. It is, again, you need to submit your application on time, submitting your documents on time, and make sure that you follow through. That's, again, part of that transfer planning. Make sure to follow through every steps that you need to be sitting until you sit on a chair at the university. Everything needs to be following by the deadline, and it is important to do that. Fall application for CSUs, application will be open on October 1st every year and ends November 30th. For spring term, August 1st, if you're transferring in spring 2021, you can apply right now. The application is open August 1st to August 31st. For UC, the application for the following fall is open right now. We are in August, and you can start your application now and submit it in November. November 1st to November 30th is the time that you can submit your application. For both of them, for CSU and UC, please don't wait till November 30th, because many of these students, many of the students wait for the last minute. And don't forget, it's not only students from our college, from California, and from other state colleges and high schools as well that they are applying. There are many applicants. And if you wait for the last minute, the system may crash. And even 1 minute, you miss the deadline. It is so important then to submit application a day or at least a day or two before the deadline. And UC application is open right now because they give more time to students to complete the application, because it's time consuming and you need to answer 4 questions. It is important to do that and start the plan, drafting your questions now. Even though you're not transferring in fall 2021, you're transferring in fall 2022, I do recommend you to do that, to start drafting and know what questions you want to answer. There are 7 questions to choose from, and definitely you need to go through that and select those questions to feel comfortable and start drafting and putting the information you want to get into it and building it up. Because each question is only 350 words. It's really hard to put all your life into 350 words and to show who you are. It needs to have some movement and some drafting and revising to make it happen and make it nice and articulate all who you are to the UC. And we are here to support you and reviewing your essays as well. Before transferring, you need to make sure that, again, apply on time, follow through and follow the information, plan to complete ADT tag or any other opportunities you have to complete them. Follow through, again, make sure the documents are submitted. As soon as you apply, they provide you information and giving you how to create an account. Follow through and make sure that you do create your account. Make sure that, because they're not, after that, they may not communicate you with email. They put everything under your portal page similar to WebSmart. Then you need to make sure that everything is in there and make sure they're following what they're saying that they're expecting you to do. And make the connection with the universities. Make sure that you, if you need to take any exams before enrolling the classes, do that. For example, San Jose State requires students to take a writing exam regardless if you're admitted or not. If you want to go there, then you can take it now. Because without that test, you cannot take upper division classes. It is important to attend orientation because some campuses, they are giving you courses and evaluating what you have completed and what left for you to take up at that orientation. It is important to attend that orientation. Again, be familiar with your environment and what you need to do ahead of time. If you know everything ahead of time, then the decision is going to be easy for you when you get admission offer. Plan ahead, and when the time comes to select out of your the universities that they accepted you, you know which one you want and which direction you want to go. And funding your education, as I said it earlier, you need to plan as the way that you're planning for your courses. You need to know how much it costs, so you need to plan for it. If you want to go to, for example, UC Berkeley, and UC Berkeley costs $30,000 a year, how much is it that you have to pay right up in front? And how much you can get help? Are they covered by only you, or parents can help you? Are you getting financial aid? Are you getting scholarship? And keep that in mind, that the cost of attendance, it always includes books, supplies, tuition and fees and housing, and many other things that goes toward your cost of attendance. When you see that the cost $75,000, don't panic. Let's take a look at the breakdown cost and to see what is it that you have to pay. Right now for Kenyatta College, you're paying only fees. We don't have tuition. But when you're looking at tuition and fees, that's a fixed but that you need to pay for universities. Books, supplies, housing, those are the things that there varies. You can stay home and save that cost. But even for tuition and fees, how much it can be covered by financial aid? Is it grant or is it loan? Those are the things you need to take a look at it. And even though, even though the universities offer financial aid based on how much they get from state or federal, the allocation could be different. Those are the ones that you may want to also evaluate. And how much they can offer. Each campus have their own scholarship programs, how much you can get, and how much it will be renewed every year to take it to until you complete the program. If you're looking at, for example, UC Santa Cruz, they offer Pistor scholarships. It is $20,000, $10,000 divided into 2 years, $10,000 each year. What else you can get from each university to offset your cost? You may work as a work study and be on campus. Those are the things that you may want to think about and evaluate what is there that you actually need to pay, and what is it that how much you can pay, how much you can get support to pay it. I had students last year that between financial aid, and which actually was a grant through financial aid, and scholarships that got from UC Davis, completely gone, the cost come to zero. Those are the things can happen, but you need to look into it and just take advantage of everything that is offered. For private universities, for out-of-state universities, I don't know if you have heard about WUI program, which is Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. This is a program that reduces the fee to resident fee, because when you apply to out-of-state, you will be considered non-resident and it costs you higher fees. Some of the colleges and universities out of state, even though you pay non-resident fee, it might come up the same as cost of attendance here in California as a resident. But you still can take it when you apply to out of state in in universities and colleges in Western states, and there's 15 of them that they're participating. You need to ask those universities, do you have WUI program? Because the WUI program may apply to all programs or specific programs. You may want to consider and asking them how much they can help you with that. And if you don't ask, they don't offer, you have to ask. And those are the things that, again, you can offset your cost and make an evaluation, which would be your best choice to, among the list of universities that you create for yourself, which one would be the best suit you and you feel comfortable with it. And as you see, there are challenges that they are coming at you, the high cost, high units, high GPA requirements impacted. And now on the top of that, all campuses are virtual, and all students may not be comfortable being online all the time. But those are the things that you, if you plan ahead of time with virtual campus, there's something that it's out of everybody's control. But again, you can train yourself how to be more focused, how to organize to be online, and training yourself and acclimating yourself to online environment and to be on the top of your programs. And again, planning is the key, and taking it step by step, moving forward from now to the end before transferring. And that would be the key to for you to, again, knowing your information, knowing what you're facing and planning for it, everything will be okay. You can make it happen. And the only thing I can also advise you is to apply widely. Don't choose only one campus. Select several of them and apply to several. And if you choose, if you're accepted to one of them, at least you're accepted to a campus of your choice. It may not be the first one on the list, but it still is your choice. And then apply widely to all the universities that you preparing yourself for. Well, I hope that this was helpful, and all the information that you have today, it is on our Transfer Center website. I encourage you to go to our Transfer Center website to get information. I have detailed information on CSUs, UCs, private, and all the resources, even workshops are out there that you can sign in and take a look at it. I'm available to answer your questions. Gloria is our transfer counselor and articulation officer. She's also available to answer your questions throughout the semester. I know that if you're transferring in fall 2021, I know that is a lot of question comes up. We're here to support you and guide you through all of this. And I'm just wondering if there are anyone out there that have questions for me. I will be glad to answer your questions. Any questions? I cannot see the chat. Let me see if I can go to my...
Hi, Soraya. We
Hi.
haven't received any questions in the chat yet, but for anyone who is participating, you can either type your question into the chat or you can unmute yourself.
You can unmute yourself and ask questions.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, I have this semester, and I need one more semester.
Okay.
I'm not sure when I should start applying.
That means you're saying, are you stating that spring 2021 would be your last semester?
Yes.
And you're planning to transfer to CSU, UC? Where are you transferring? Where do you want to apply?
My number one choice is Menlo College.
Okay.
And then after that, a CSU.
Okay. For CSUs, the application for fall 2021 will be open on October 1st.
Okay.
For Menlo College, the application will be open in January. And you can apply as late as April or May.
Okay.
And
so I should apply within this year then?
Yes.
Or like January 2021 for Menlo, and then
for private university, they are opening their application in spring for fall, but for CSU and UC, they open their application in fall for the following fall.
Okay.
The year ahead.
Okay, so I have to apply this fall.
Yes. I'll see you in October for CSU application.
Hopefully, yes. I hope so. Uh,
Any?
yeah,
Good,
that's my question.
good.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No questions?
Soraya, could you also talk about some of the classes that you teach?
Oh, I'm teaching Career 110, which is Transfer Essentials. Is an honors course. Give you one unit, and it's coming up in this fall. Offering it in fall, starting August 31st and ends October 23rd. And this one unit, you will learn all about transfer requirements and talking about all of this information that we talked to you today more in depth. And also, you will be learning about how to advocate for yourself at a four-year university, how you plan for your course at a four-year university, how to be proactive as how you can be at for university and be in charge, because when you go there, you are not you may not have counselors, you have advisors. And knowing that what resources you have, how to apply, and how to um, articulate your courses to another, those are the information you can get more in depth. And also writing your personal statement or personal insight questions for UCs, and how to write your essays for private universities. That's Career 110. And I also teach, in spring, I teach Career 300, which is the scholarships, and helping students to find scholarships and how to write your personal statements for scholarships and search and organize your thoughts and information. And again, I'm hoping that everybody already have a major. And if you don't, I do also recommend you to take Career 137. I'm not teaching that course, but that's a course that you can learn about planning and career life planning in finding your major, and what you can do with that major, and moving forward with finding universities and planning for it. It's a great class. And that's a course that also, all these courses, career courses, are transferable to CSUs. My courses, 110 is transferable to UC as well. Scholarship is only transferred to CSU, not to UC. And Career 137 applies to both system and also fulfill the general education requirements for CSU. Any other questions? Thank you.
There's a question in the chat as to whether or not Berkeley is in tag.
No, the tag campuses are UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC San Diego. They do not do tag. Their standards is high enough because they are very selective, and they are not giving tag to students because as it is, the standards is high up, and you can apply to other campuses too for your tag. Even though you're applying to UC Berkeley without a tag, I do recommend you to do tag with another campus, just in case. But no, unfortunately, they don't. One, they don't have the personnel to review them. Two, they already have higher standards, and they are very selective as it is. Any other questions? I cannot see the chat.
If Cañada College offers an associate in early childhood development.
Yes, we do have associate degree for transfer and associate degree, both. And again, the difference between associate degree for transfer is to complete the general education requirements for CSU or UC. For associate degree, you following our general education requirements. And on the top of that, you also need to have 2 courses of PE. You also require to have an ethnic study course, which also could be one of the courses in your EC, like EC 254, fulfills the ethnic studies as well. But yes, we do. And if you complete associate degree for transfer and you're transferring, you can get the benefit of getting priority to CSU campuses. Hope I answered your question. I don't know if I can.
I think that was all the questions.